and The Real South Africa. I am Latasha Blanton.
And I'm Mark Blanton, and welcome to our home.
Again, we'll always welcome you into our home. That's the reason why we do this. So, what are we going to do today?
I just want to, kind of cover a few things. Of course, we always want to talk about South Africa and some of the reasons why you probably should make the trek here. And if you do come with us, because when you do come, you want to see us. This is who you're going to be dealing with. So we want, you to be, familiar with who we are and what we are. But first, I kind of want to, go over what we've been, what's going on lately in the news.
Yeah, a lot going on.
A lot going on. First of all, her team lost.
They only lost by 1 point though. Only after
they lost.
But they were tied at the end of the fourth quarter, so I'm still a diehard.
Honorable mention.
What?
So
what, you don't get trophies if you don't get trophies in second place?
You do that.
Oh, because everybody gets a trophy now.
Yes.
In the land of everybody gets a trophy. That's the case, and it's still a win because they only lost by 1 point. Curry did his thing. We do still get to watch sports over here.
Exactly.
And the news that's happening back in the United States. So we're not, yes, it's a third world country, but we're not like cut off from the whole, Western civilization, for lack of a better term. So we do keep up with those things, as well as what's happening here in South Africa. So don't mind my shirt. I was rooting for them to win, and they didn't.
It's okay. Well, in other sports, I think that we've seen that the playoffs start Saturday. Pittsburgh didn't make it. I'm not a big time Pittsburgh fan, but I'm kind of watching those Eagles. They're starting to soar.
Die-hard Eagles fan.
Yeah, so we definitely watch our sports, American sports.
Yeah.
Over here, they have sports. We don't really watch them too much. They have cricket, which is interesting.
I don't even want to begin on what cricket is, how it's played, the once-overs, and all those kind of things.
So you're already too deep.
I know I'm already too deep, but it's a very long game to watch. And they play
rugby. Now rugby I like.
Rugby's cool.
Yeah, if you catch me around here, I'll be wearing a little rugby shirt.
Yeah.
Truth be known, the team here is really, really good. They're usually number 1 or 2. But the team that usually gives them the most fits and the team that usually wins is the Australian team. No, the New Zealand team. They call it the All Blacks.
Oh, the All Blacks.
And I like them simply because they were all black.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, but they're not all black, so to speak. But anyway, they do play that, and then of course they have soccer / football.
All the time.
And anywhere you go, you're gonna definitely see them. A bunch of people sitting around the TV, either watching the Premier League here, or they're watching the teams in Europe.
Yep.
And if you ask them who their team here is, there's several teams, but they normally say the Kaiser Chiefs
or
the Orlando Pirates. And that all depends on where you grew up
and
at.
You can always tell like how they are. So if you meet someone, out or whatever, and you just ask them one question: are you a Pirate or a Kaiser Chief? And I'm telling you right now, if you just pick with them and say, I bet you're a Pirate, they're like, no.
Yeah.
And then they get they start laughing, but it's really nice to just see them. They're absolutely hardcore sports fans. So not unlike American sports fans, but they love their soccer.
They're very passionate and so forth. But then of course we're looking at, right now, government shutdown, that's a mess. I don't know. I don't even want to make comment. I just think that at this point they're putting America in a different position that they've ever been in. The good part, but the good and the bad. I think I'm gonna say the bad part. I just happened to look at the exchange rate, and it went down a little bit. It's still great. The exchange rate is, what the U.S. dollar is worth over here in South Africa. It went down a little bit, maybe because of the markets, maybe because of the change in power in Congress. Been noticing, Nancy Pelosi, she's been on pretty much every channel.
Yeah.
And the reason why we bring these things up is because even when we're in the car and we're listening to the radio, South African radio, and we're watching a little bit of South African TV, not just CNN International, but just the radio. They're talking about American politics. they're talking about what's going on and so forth with Congress. And it's funny, sometimes they get it wrong a little bit, or they might not know the dynamics of it, but they make an attempt to report it because they know it's important. So I can only imagine, how people at home in Washington D.C. area feel because of the furloughs and things along that line. People need to get paid.
Which was crazy because the last thing I saw, and I don't know if it's still true, was that they actually weren't going to get paid until January 25th. That's a long way away from the date only being the 4th. Yeah. But nevertheless, when I think about the government shutdown, I always think about the position that you had in the government, how it never... It affects most employees, but you were an essential employee, so you had to go to work. So, I mean, did you feel bad when there were things like government shutdown, but you still had to go to work?
Well, yeah. For my position, like I said, to get to know, who we are, who you're going to be dealing with when you come here. To answer your question, I was an essential employee. I was with the government. I was U.S. Secret Service on the Vice President's detail for several years. Then before that, I was at the White House working there. But I knew back then, they had government shutdowns and they averted a lot of government shutdowns. But you saw a lot of while I was at work. Hey, we got to take the VP back to the White House, or we got to go to Capitol Hill. We got to do something. So they were always working it out, and they ultimately worked it out. So to see it go this long and to affect a ton of people in a lot of different ways, it's kind of disheartening. And in some ways, I'm so glad I'm here because the government here hasn't shut down not one day.
The country shuts down, but not the government.
Yeah, well,
And when I say the country shuts down, I mean that they actually take a legit holiday during the festive season. Can you imagine if, beyond our summer, say June 21st until August, or when the kids go back to school in September, that we had 2 holidays back to back like they do? So they shut down 21 days, 11 days before Christmas. And then they're shut down the entire, so they won't even come back to work until the middle of January. So they have 2 major holidays and it's summer. That is amazing. We just have July 4th and Labor Day, but they're spread out. They get Christmas and New Year's back to back. So half the stuff is.
But then there's also other stuff going on. The Indians. There's a lot of Indians here. They have their holidays. So there's a lot of ethnicities here, and of course, regardless, if it's a national holiday or if it's a cultural holiday, you still get the time off. So they kind of back them into all together, so they can literally take that time. And as my daughter says, they do a lot of turning up on this side. You'll see people going places with coolers all the time.
They're always want to do something. Yep. Here's what I learned. I'll admit, I should know the answer to this. I've been hearing it forever, but I actually learned what Boxing Day was and why that was more important. While that was more important than Christmas, so that was exciting to us. And then the Cape Tony celebrate another holiday the day after New Year's Day as well. So they have, and that's all related to you being, I wouldn't say slave, but to you being a servant. I'll use that word instead.
Yeah. So. But yeah, that's like I said, that's what's going on. Like I said, we wanted to get, tell us, we're doing it in, I guess, backwards chronological order. Yeah. So most recently, this is what we do. We're expatriates now in South Africa. Long road to get here. If you watch any of our other videos or just went to our webpage, therealsouthafrica.com, and read about us, you'll understand what we've done. Then, purchased a home here, done everything we needed to do, try to get ourselves acclimated. Still a process because we haven't been here that long. And then we decided to, try to open this up to other African Americans, especially those who have an interest of coming to Africa in general. We hope you come here because we get excited when we meet other tourists that are kind of going around. They're kind of like, man, they're talking to us as if it's our first time. Man, did you know? I didn't know. I mean, they are so excited, and we kind of be like, well, look here, we've been here for years, and we've been going back and when I say here, going back and forth for years. But it's funny just to see the look on their face. Of course, we've disembarked on pretty much every Caribbean country, you never see that number.
No. I do notice that when you tell them that you decided that you live here now, they say, you live here now. And you're like, where's, like, they're almost said, like, I can't believe you chose our country to live in, and then they get kind of proud and they're happy for you.
Yeah.
They usually say, welcome home.
Yeah.
You know, yes, the continent is big. So when they say welcome home, it's not necessarily a thing of being welcome in South Africa per se, but they understand the continent's role and why we weren't here to begin with. They're happy that you decided to come back to the continent, period. And that's always that's always a good thing. So I like that part about it, being welcome anyway.
Yeah, and I always liken it to, I think about the first and second generation African, regardless of what country they came from, because some of those countries didn't even exist during the slave trade. They were called something else and the borders were different. It was funny, I always think about the first and second generation guys, because I'm sure every day they worked or the slave master was doing whatever they was doing or whatever they was going through, which was probably horrible, they always longed to come back home. And I'm sure they told their kids, which again, the kids probably like, well, I've never been there, so I don't know. And then of course, 8, 9, 10 generations later, this is where we are. So I always like to talk about, us bringing our DNA back, because that DNA that came back in the 1600s is the exact same DNA that's when that's happening. You do understand. I'm bringing that DNA back, and that's why I think when I get here, it's like all my DNA says, okay, we're ready, and I'm happy. I wake up every morning, and it's great. It was funny. This, obviously, it's the new year, 2019, and I'm out there, doing my little exercise. And truth be told, I just walk it now. I just walk. And there's tons of South Africans getting it in. They're walking, they're running, they're doing the most. And it was just good to see, us all out there, getting ourselves, in shape just so we can just live a little longer. So that's what we do now. Tasha, she has a story of what she used to do prior to this. I'm linked to it, so I'm gonna let her tell the story.
And you've heard my story before, I've been a physical therapist now going on 15 years. So, got a bachelor's degree in North Carolina,
High Point
University, which is an extremely expensive school now. When I went there, it was expensive, but now it's like on some whole other level of expensive. Nito Cobain is doing an amazing job making sure that those kids come out spoiled. Then I got my doctorate degree down in St. Augustine, and had plans, knew I wanted to be a business owner, didn't really know how, traveled for a couple of years, met this dude, and then unfortunately stopped traveling, got a real
You got sacked.
That's what it felt like too. And then just sort of telling him, what I wanted to do, that I thought I could, really be a clinic owner. Got a position as a director, kind of got the basis for what it meant to run a clinic, and took that knowledge, and with his knowledge and his background in the military, from recruiting and basically managing way more people than I've ever managed in my entire life, we put those two things together and we ran a clinic for almost 10 years, sold it so that we could live our dream right here. So as far as like my background is concerned, I mean, it's really not that extensive. I mean, if you want to know more about it, I'll tell you. But I got a mom and a dad, and a brother and a sister. I got a conventional family, grew up in a 2-parent household. My parents are still married. So nothing spectacular about that life. Grew up in the country, but at the same time, always trying to do more, always push to do more, always push to look outside of what I can see every day, and I thank them for that. And because of that, I don't have the fear that, oh, you're so far away from home, what about your fill in the blank? And usually that ends up being family. And I will tell you, as long as a plane, a train, a bus, a car, I can get to them. And no, I can't drive to them in 2 hours or 3 hours like I was before, but I can get to them and they can get to me. And I think that that should always be an option when you're considering living away from your family. Like, don't ever just stay somewhere because this is where grandma was, or this is where dad was, or the case may be, because we hold ourselves in places when we don't have to. I don't think for one moment, if my parents had an opportunity to live someplace else that they would not have. They just decided that this is what they were gonna do. And other generations don't have to live like that, which is why the Black travel movement is so huge now, because people are understanding that they don't have to be that small town person for the rest of their lives. You don't have to get your degree and run back home.
Yeah, you can be global now.
You can be
global. Yeah, and and it all starts with I think back of when we were Pan Am,
What are you talking about, the airlines?
Yeah, the old airlines and things like that. But
who remembers that?
Well, and even when
dating themselves.
Well, even when trains first came out, it was for white people, and they got a chance to travel, and they got a chance to see other places and other things. And then I think about when airline, especially international travel, it was kind of like first class now travel. The whole plane, that's if you went on a plane, you went dressed, you were going to eat very well, you're going to have the best seats and things along that line. We couldn't afford it, obviously. There may have been one or two. There's always been one or two. But we couldn't afford it. But what happened? They travel. They go to Europe. They see all of. They go to Asia. They rarely came down here. But the point I'm trying to make is now we have those same opportunities to travel. But if you only go, to work, home, maybe church on Sunday, and you travel in a small circle, and every once in a while you might go somewhere, you're gonna, let your life go by, and you're gonna miss a lot of things. Now, I'm not saying that this is everything, but I guarantee you this. Somebody wrote to me just recently that if you're gonna come to Africa, especially Johannesburg, it's the tip of the iceberg. There's so much here to do, and it's funny because we do get a lot of correspondence from people that are actually here as African Americans, and then we get a lot of correspondence from people that have traveled traveled here from the U.S. And it's from the people coming from the U.S. is always the same.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, we really, ironically enough, the other day we went to, there's a club here, not just necessarily for ex-pages, but I do believe the next pager started it. It's called the Joburg Brunch Club, so I'll tag them in this. And she started that so that expatriates and the people that are here can kind of begin to network on a monthly basis, because you always meet people that have services that you may or may not need, or you can figure out how you can, put some stuff together. So ironically enough, we're at the Joburg Brunch Club on Sunday. There's a video of that as well, and pictures from it. And I met a young lady, well actually Mark met a young lady, I met her after the fact. She's actually Kenyan, but she grew up on the West Coast. So she grew up in Seattle, Washington. Now, her grandmother still lives in Kenya, but she grew up in Seattle, Washington. This past August was her first time in Johannesburg. It's December when we meet her.
Yep.
She's like, I had to come back. And before we left her that Sunday, she said to me, which was 30th of December, she said to me, I will be back in February. Now, her first trip was in August. She's already been back within 3 months.
And she was having a ball. She was like, this is crazy.
But she's also under 30, so they have a different level of energy than we do. But she's been to Zimbabwe, she was just in Cape Town. She's doing all of this so she can fly back home in the next couple of days, just to come back again next month. I'm like, that's next month.
Oh, it is. You're right.
just to come back next month.
And I like how it was funny because her vibe was great, because I remember back in 2010 when I came here, I was like, I can't wait to get back. I did my job, but every time we had time off or downtime or whatever, and I took a lot of time off just to come here, just so I can decompress, just so I can be like, you know what? This is nice, and enjoy the people, enjoy what I'm doing, enjoy who I'm talking to. And I kept making new connections like daily. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I went to high school with these guys,
Right,
or
for sure.
we was in the military together and things along that line. It was just people that I met, and we just enjoyed ourselves. And when I came back, they made time for me, and I made time for them, and it was great. But going back to me, like I said, you know, we just want you to get to know who we are a little bit more. Prior to me being in the U.S. Secret Service, I was in the Army. So shout out to all my Army military folk out there. I'm just partial to the Army, but I worked with pretty much everyone. And like I said, you know, it's tough being a soldier. So if you're not a soldier, you know somebody that you know that's a soldier. Trust me, they
hug a soldier today.
Yeah, they get it done. They get it done with less and whatnot, and to keep us safe, or as they said in A Few Good Men, you want me on that wall, you need me on that wall.
It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, but it's true. It's a true statement. So shout out to all my military folk, past and present, and even those that are thinking about it right now. You know, take a look at it. Like I said, there's something there for everyone. And I say that because I used to be an Army recruiter back in 1996 to 1999.
I was only 18.
Yeah, it was bad. It's a tough job, but I got it done. I finished that up. I was, you know, for those of us that are at U.S. Army, I was stationed at Fort Bragg for a long time. I grew up there as well, at Fayetteville. But, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Shout out to all the things that come out. And I say things, not people. All the things that come out of Fayetteville.
Yeah, the Ville. So, but what's his name? The rapper, what's his name?
Who? J. Cole.
J. Cole, he's from Fayetteville. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, he's much younger than me, but.
So I have to sidebar on this one because we are walking through one of the thousands of malls they have here on every corner, and we meet a young man, and he is literally talking about J. Cole and Fayetteville, and we're just like, what? I'm from Fayetteville. So they start vibing. There's a video about that too.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because they were immediately attached through J. Cole, who neither one of them actually know, all because of good old Fayetteville.
Yeah, it was to add insult to injury. He was so funny. He was literally like, yeah, you know, one of my favorite guys is J. Cole. I listen to J. Cole. Now, we're in Johannesburg. It's about 9,000 miles away. And he's talking about Fayetteville. So I said, so what do you know about Fayetteville? He's like, yeah, man. He started like, yeah, you know, like Greenville, you know, like
his whole body language.
And he was like, you know, it was like, I know Fayetteville because of J. Cole, because he talks about this, talks about that. And he didn't know it. I said, I'm from Fayetteville. And he was like, what? He said, like, you really from Fayetteville?
Like, is that
I said,
really?
yeah. And he was like, yeah, man, because, you know, those people great, man, down in Fayetteville. And I was like, okay. It was good. It was good that, you know, I wish J. Cole would, you know, could see that he'd be like, wow, I connected with a young man who's selling mattresses. Literally. And good mattresses, by the way.
Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah, but they're good. Good mattresses, but he was enamored. So, but like I said, that's where I grew up at. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. She's from Rustburg, Virginia.
Really, you gonna go that far? If
If
that's the case, say Spring Lake.
Well, Spring Lake. This is the suburb of Fayetteville. If you're from the area, you know.
I can't say Rustburg, Virginia. That's. If I say Rustburg, you're like, where the fuck is that? But Lynchburg is the closest city, so let's just go with that. It's 9 miles outside of Lynchburg. It's very small. It's still small. It went from one stoplight to me growing up to now it has 3. Actually, no. It has 4. So in 40 years of me being there, it has 4 stoplights. That's progress.
Now, the last part, like I said, I was in the military, of course. You know, you're in the military. I did it for like 13 years. It was great. I mean, went to combat, did all that. Desert Storm, Desert Shield, for us veterans from that. Get your VA claim in. Anyway.
Paperwork.
Rating. Yeah. But I got an opportunity to be overseas a couple times in Germany, travel all throughout Europe. I mean, all on my own, doing all these different things. So you probably can figure out between my time in the Army and all my time in Europe, I spent a total of 5 years. And then, of course, you know, being with the Secret Service, I got an opportunity to travel throughout the world, and I got an opportunity to travel throughout the whole United States. Because it was funny, I realized before I joined the Secret Service at 32, I didn't know, the U.S. I always just went to my mama's house, and and I might have visited a friend here and there, but I didn't, and wherever I was stationed, like I was stationed in Fort Knox before, so I knew those areas, but I didn't know the country. So through my travels, wherever a president would go or vice president would go, that's where I went, and I was like, this is, America is interesting. Of course, traveling throughout the world, and some of these places my wife went as well. It was interesting, but when I came here, I always tell the story. When I came here, I felt, man, I didn't have any preconceived notions of South Africa. I didn't really know until I got here, and after we came with the World Cup 2010, and when I left, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I called her like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. There was so many nice people, black people doing very well for themselves, well-to-do. Nothing like I would expect. They had their own government, they had their own everything, and I was like, this is incredible. With that being said, you would say, okay, well, because it was World Cup. Okay, then World Cup was over, I came back, it was the same. I came back, I think my passport, or my old passport, I probably got like 15 stamps coming through in the country, simply because every time I came, I found something new every time I came. And now that we're here full time, we're still discovering new things, stuff that we did not know, things, running into different people, different industries. And a lot of people come from other Africans come here. So, that's why we decided that, we knew for a fact, just because of our conversations with people back in DC, yeah, man, I really want to go to Africa, but, well, man, don't they got this in Africa? Don't they, with a whole bunch of negativity. Yeah. And are you safe, or are you okay? Are you drinking the water? I mean, just a litany of things. A litany of things, which are all found in the United States. Yeah. They're all found. Everything that somebody asked me about, I could just point, when they say, well, do you drink the water? I say, well, do they drink the water in Flint? I'm not trying to be mean, but do they? Because, so, you got to ask yourself all the hard questions. When you come here, are you coming here to point out things that you found are wrong, or are you coming to say, oh, I went to South Africa, and yet there is a little boy on the corner standing there with a fly on his eye, and he's hungry. They are here. Unfortunately, when that's over, you start riding around and start looking at all the affluent Africans and what they're doing and the opportunities. That's why so many of our U.S. stars, especially the black ones, they come here. They're here all the time. They're here all the time. And if you ever look at one of our bigger stars, Akon, he comes here. He ain't leaving. He's doing well over here. So again, I'm not saying that you have to pick up, quit your job, tell your family I'm leaving, and come here. Not even close. But what I am saying is this:
think about it.
Come here. Form a relationship.
For sure.
Meet a couple people, get used to the environment. It'll take you about a day and a half if your skin's melanated. Just saying. Come here and see what it's really about. So when people say to you, but don't they got a drought in South Africa? And you're like, no, it rained like 3 times while I was there. Stuff like that. Or they ask you some silly question about Africa, you can actually answer and you can say, oh, I've been there. Because I laugh a lot of times because I go to these forums, I go to these different forums on Facebook, and we all know what they are, black forums. And and a lot of times they're like putting out information about Africa. But then when you start asking, and there's Africans actually in there sometimes, and they ask the person, well, have you been there? And the second thing they say is, no, but I read or I heard. You have zero, really, what are you doing? You're doing the man's job.
Yeah, there's no other way to put that.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it goes. And like I said, so at the end of the day, we would love for you guys to follow us, on YouTube. Once you like and subscribe to our channel, we
like,